Welcome back to another warm-up show with Hockey Coach Gold Coach franchise directly from the beautiful country of Thailand. And we have to go all the way to Toronto to find a co-host, Mr. ENORTAP, back in the house.
Hello, Coach. Hello, Hockey Nation. Happy Monday morning.
Happy Monday morning here.
In Thailand.
5 a.m., Mr. ENORTAP, back on my old schedule the morning. Wake up at 4 this morning, went to bed at midnight.
Sure.
Really great night last night, Mr. ENORTAP. I had the opportunity to meet new people around the city, and then we went to eat, and it remind me a couple of my old days in Florida where you go out and you sit on the water. Oh, not on the water, but you sit at the restaurant just beside the water. You just enjoy the weather. It was a beautiful 81 Fahrenheit last night, and could be like 25 or 26 Celsius, and just enjoy it the rest of my Monday. It's rare Monday you go out. This is maybe my first time I go out on Monday night, but we'll see. We'll see how we're going to recover for this evening last night for the rest of the week.
You'll be fine, Coach. You'll be fine.
Talking about recovery, we have to recover for the weekend because we have an amazing, great weekend of hockey. A lot of things happening. Team going down, team going up. Wild card is getting wild again. And the Montreal benefit of the lack of the winning side with 6 losses. They are right now 28. So we're going to talk about this for sure. And we're going to go to the leaderboard of the warm-up show. And then finally, we're going to talk about, of course, the only 3 games we have on the program tonight. Really easy night for the hockey NHL before the storm. We are about, I believe today, about 1 month before the end of the season. And so we have a lot of contents to talk about for sure. We have to review what happened on the weekend. So definitely we're going to have a great show until 7 o'clock. It'll be back 7:30 tonight for the hockey play-by-play commentary. Colorado play in Montreal. We have a couple of people to welcome. We have Mr. Free Stuff is in the house, Mr. ENORTAP.
Welcome, Free Stuff.
Le Roadrunner, Mr. ENORTAP. Gary Cournoyer is in the house.
Hello, Gary. Welcome.
Mr. Joseph Lahem, directly for the big city of Houston and Texas, where the barbecue is the biggest thing in the world.
Absolutely. Welcome, Joseph.
And the Captain Kirk is in the house, Mr. ENORTAP.
Welcome, Ryan.
What about the Run with Kings, 20 from Utah, the moderator back in the house?
How's it going, Ron?
Jamo Virtanen from Finland is in the house. Welcome back and with us today.
Welcome, Yermo. Moi moi.
Pattaya every day is like Saturday. Yes, I would said every day should be Saturday, but Pattaya is like this every yeah, something like that. Freestyle wants some barbecue, but Joseph can maybe cooking for us some barbecue. We'll see what happened. It could happen. Never know about that. So that's what we got, Mr. Natap, on the house so far on the great Monday and evening. What about the Captain Danny T for the moderator is in the house? Thanks to be with the Hockey National Show.
Welcome, Danny.
And that's what we got, Mr. Natap. I don't know what to tell you more about all. Welcome, everybody. I'm a little bit slow at the 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. But at the beginning of the show, Mr. Natap, let's see what caught your attention on the weekend. Maybe you have some kind of story you can talk about this. Before you start, I just want to mention to you at the top of this the little information we gave you guys Thursday night. We gave you Friday night what happening, the score of the leaderboard. We're going to give you a little bit later, but just a little bit to figure out what's going on at the top here. It's because we mixed both days from last week. We didn't have no show Friday. We took a day off, and that's what happened. So congratulations for the Peter, the double Peter, Mr. Natap, and Gary C, 9-2 Thursday nights and 20 and 11 games. So congratulations. Some of you are 8-3, coach, and I thought have 7-4. You can go all the way like that. And then Friday, Randy N from the jail Thursday night. Go to the boss Thursday night, or he got only one got 2-0 Friday night, and then many of the rest of us were all 1-1 Friday, Mr. Natap. So I just want to sharing with you about that. And then I want to give you what caught your attention. I'm going to give you the list of the team at the top of this, Mr. Top. The other team did very well for the last couple of days. And the bottom is the one struggled the most for the NHL. They have negative, maybe on the top in the last 10 game, or they lost a couple of games straight. So New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Florida, Vegas, Vancouver are looking good. Vancouver is the only team have a streak of 4W, Mr. Natap. Unbelievable turnover over there. Philadelphia on the flip side are on the bottom. Ottawa, it's difficult weekend. And Tampa Bay tried to come back, but they're still below 500. The New York Rangers, it's not there yet. The St. Louis Blues, unfortunately, they're not going to go on the right direction for this side. So that's what we got from Senator. Maybe you can add more stuff.
Well, that's you've got quite a few good teams there covered, Coach. Except you're missing one very important team that had a huge weekend, and that's the Winnipeg Jets. I know you don't like them, but
But
they won two
the reason the
very
Winnipeg Jet
critical
got, they
games.
got 2W, but they are still 3
Yes,
5-2 in the last 10 games.
yes, but we're talking about the weekend, and I thought they put something good together. And given some of the injuries that they had, they played without Morrissey, they played without Perfetti, they played uh,
Dubois.
you know Dubois was out, Lowry was out. They held their own, and I'm not saying that. They're out of the woods, not by a long stretch, because they have some tough games coming up the rest of the way. So what I liked about it was that they showed some spirit. They were able to answer the bell, and they came up with a very impressive 3-2 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are having nightmares right now. Tampa Bay at this stage has gone 3-5-2 in their last 10 games, and things are not looking good for them. But you got to wonder, Coach. I don't know. Is this a team that finally things have caught up to them, or is it a team that just knows when to push the buttons and start putting it into high gear? And we'll see. Uh, Probably after this week, because I always maintain the last 10 to 15 games of the season, the team that goes on a hot streak, or the teams that go on a hot streak, are the ones that are going to go far in the playoffs usually. And one thing you don't want to do is head into the playoffs, on a losing streak, like some of these teams are right now, like the Rangers and Of course, Ottawa and Calgary have been having nightmares, but um, they've kind of taken themselves out of the run almost. Not 100% mathematically yet, but it's difficult because you're starting to see on a nightly basis if there's anywhere between 30 to 35% of the games are going into overtime or a shootout. And that's because once they get to a certain point early on in that third period, if they see it's a close game, they play it very, very cautiously. They want to get their 1 point for sure, and then they take their chance in overtime to get that extra bonus point. So that's something to keep your eyes open, and that's why we say all the time it's very difficult to make up a difference. Sometimes you see, oh, they're only trailing by 5 points. If we win three and they lose three, we're ahead of them. Well, it doesn't work that way. There's this 1 point game that keeps getting in the way, and sometimes there's teams slightly above you that also get in the way. Pittsburgh has been indeed fairly hot lately. They've kind of they're the ones that had the games in hand, and so far they're making good use of those. They've gone 7-2-1 in their last 10 games, coach, and they've won two in a row now. Good win yesterday against the Rangers to secure that one, and it got nasty. And guess what? Thursday and Saturday, these two play again. So I don't suspect it'll get any calmer. It means a lot for both teams because I think the Rangers want to get out of this slump and sort of, set their foundations going into the playoffs. We'll see if it happens, but it was some good old style hockey that we saw this weekend. The East is starting to look like it's almost solidifying in my eyes. I know the Islanders have played a little bit more, like they played 68 games. That's the only that's the only caveat to the whole thing. Otherwise, I'd say it's over in the East if they had played maybe 76 and or sorry 66 instead of 68 games. So somebody like Florida or possibly Washington or Ottawa has to really put together a strong streak going these last few games. Otherwise, I think we have our two wild cards in Pittsburgh and the Islanders. One thing I've noticed, Coach, and this sort of wraps it up, going back to Winnipeg, of all the teams that made big moves, right? So far, nothing really has worked out well for anybody if you look at it, right? And that might be they haven't either fit into the equation very well, or injuries have come into play, like Riley with the Leafs. But the two that were made in Winnipeg with Nemstinikov and Niederreiter seem to be working very well for them. And that's about the only team I see. Like unless I'm missing somebody
Orlov,
from another trade. Yeah, Orlov has been solid. Yeah,
he got
yeah,
nine
he's been
points. And then I
solid
will
too.
add Ramis Sandin with the Washington Capitals. Maybe not the team, but I'm talking about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
players. Sandin have an amazing, great run right now with that trait over there. I think someone maybe not make send a trade deadline. I think Vegas with Barbashev, but I don't know. It's like Barbashev make an impact, but that team get a little bit more the people of the right share for the what they
yeah.
have right now. I think Vegas have a good run. After Sun, they got a trade deadline. They lost only one game, I believe. So if you talk about team, I would say Vegas too. And then as the players, Sandin and Arlov are doing well, very well with their team.
Yeah, and that's why it's important. These players have to be given time, and the team themselves to sort of adjust their lineups, make sure that they start to uh, develop some kind of chemistry together. It's unfortunate that O'Reilly got hurt, and it looks like he might be gone for a while before he comes back because it doesn't afford the Leafs that same luxury. But by the same token, he is an experienced player that's been there before, and he doesn't really have to worry too much about acclimatizing to his new teammates.
You're absolutely right about that. So that's the reason very well the resume of the weekend, Mr. ENORTAP. Well done, well said. We have a few people knocked the door. Steve G is in the house.
Welcome, Steve.
We have, I just tried to get Real Deal, Mr. ENORTAP is in the house.
Real deal. Welcome.
William McClary is in the house.
Welcome, William.
Pierre Martin is in the house. Peter Pete. Pete Martin is in the house, Mr. ENORTAP.
Welcome, Pierre.
And try to get. Do you see Sutter behind the flame bench in October?
That's a good question.
Well,
I'd rather say yes than no right now.
Yeah, but I want to add you this, Mr. ENORTAP, and then you can ask you more.
Yeah.
I would say we don't know yet, and I will tell you why. The general manager, the Brett traveling last name, is without contract. So all depends what could happen in the summer. If you have a new GM, it could have some kind of modification. Sutter is going to be on his last year of his contract, if I can recall it. I think he was on the 3 years contract. So that would be a factor, Mr. ENORTAP, to figure out if he's going back or not next season, Sutter.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't realize
right?
that.
But it's a 50-50.
One thing that we did see this weekend, Coach, well, we've been seeing it all along, but this weekend, that much more so. Some of the teams that were below Montreal are starting to win. Arizona, Anaheim, they've closed the gaps. As a matter of fact, Arizona jumped ahead of Montreal now. So I think we're fifth last right now.
Yep. We're going to get that in a few minutes. We're going to give you a little bit the result about that. We have Ron Wikin. Does Vegas sign Quinn after the season, or does he goes somewhere else? A quick asset. He want to play at least 2 more seasons. The Jonathan Quick will be interesting now. That Vegas have Leonard, have Thompson, have Quick, Brossois, and Hill. So I would say to you, if I was Vegas, I would not sign him. The age, first of all, right? I don't think so. It would be something like where I think he will be let it go. Now, can he find a job? Backup number 2, Mr. ENORTAP. I would say to you, impossible. The New York Rangers, if they don't want Alak come back next year, Rangers with Quick could be an interesting case. I think Jonathan Quick, he was looking for the team, could make the playoff, first of all, team winning. And you can get a Quick below $3 million if on my eyes.
Yeah, possibly. And if he stays healthy, that's the key thing for him, right? I think he still has some gas in the tank.
Yeah.
And will help a team.
Angelo is in the house. Welcome aboard, Angelo. Thanks for your comments about Josh Anderson. Great to hear that. And then how does Sutter adjust to player who can play on this system? Ron, he said about that. Very interesting category. All the act. You need fun players with specific team. Obviously, it does not go always the same way. So, it is.
He doesn't adjust. He doesn't adjust. The players adjust to him.
Yeah, absolutely about that. Mr. ENORTAP is we do the player the star of the day, but tonight we have the star of the weekend or the week last week. Let's see what we got for you, Mr. ENORTAP. The 3-star are Keller, Crosby, Mr. ENORTAP, and Mitch Marner for the Toronto Maple Leafs. All the 3-star. You talk about the veteran Sidney Crosby, consistently performing with his age. Consistently have a great year with the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's the reason why they are the top, have a good weekend. Keller, 9.4 and 5. Underrated player. Nobody talk a lot about this. Arizona doing well, by the way. Crosby, 7.2 and 5. Marner, 2 and 4 and 6.
And he's got a very manageable contract, Keller.
Yeah, absolutely about this. I think it's still at $5 million now.
Either 5.5, something like that.
Yeah. He don't have a big contract. Like he does have like $7-8 million about that.
let me ask you this,
Oh,
Coach.
we are around 7.1 Mr.
Six and
Top.
a half. Oh, 7.1. Okay, it's still very good though.
Yeah,
Given that this guy consistently puts up very good points. He came back from a very bad leg break last year and
yeah,
recovered, and he's still I think he's what, 26,
24.
25, 26. Oh, 24.
Yeah,
So here's my question to you, Coach. Let's look at Arizona here, because a lot of times we say you have to build through the draft, and Arizona has consistently been putting together, you know, tough years, bad years. Let's call a spade here. Um, if you're the general manager, do you keep Keller? Is he part of your future, or do
yes.
you move him?
No, I don't move him.
Okay.
Um, because his age 24, one is going to be at his prime like 26, 27. He's going to be the heart of the team, like this is key. Like when he's going to be 27, 28, he will bring everybody together. He's been 5, 6 years over there. I think if I one team in that organization I will not trade, is really Keller. You can trade Schmalz and you can trade other players around him, but I will not trade Keller. He's really where is everything based around him. You build around him everything. For me, it'll be the only one I
Yeah.
will not trade right now. After they trade Chikran, I will not go there. I'm still shocked they trade Chikran. Uh,
Yeah, Chikrin, and I get they traded Gostaber, I get that, but
yeah,
it just seems like here's a team that is, to me anyways, maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture, but they're just chasing their tail, going around. They're accumulating assets, and instead of building on that, first of all, they haven't. Let's be honest, they haven't had great luck at the lottery. Like they need to 1 year win it and get a, if not a franchise player, somebody close to that, that would really take them far. But they seem to always be playing at the floor. They seem to be taking other people's heavy contracts on.
yeah,
They,
this
yes,
you remember,
they
Mr.
accumulate
I'm
a,
trying to become them Mr. Top 1 year and a half ago. So he really changed where he at. It would take 7 years over there at my eyes, and he got a lot of good pick last year and the year before. Quandor now is coming there. Cody's coming next season. You're going to
yeah,
see Kiki possible to be around. I don't know if going to make it, but they are the beginning of the rebuilding. And I think you're going to get two more pick, maybe three. If they get Ottawa out of the playoff, Mr. Atta, they're going to get two solid pick like the Montreal Canadiens at the same
that's right.
situation. So they really get there. But again, those three players we pick they're going to get or they're going to get now, or the two pick that's going to produce for them the next 2 years. And for year number three, like Montreal, they're going to get the fruit of what they same uh, when they got the last couple of years, what all they gave
Yeah,
away, everything like that. So a little bit different because
it,
Montreal have a little bit a base already, where the
yeah,
player
yeah.
they are a little bit 1 year, 2 years in front of Montreal, behind Montreal Canadian.
Yeah, I see that. It's just that they have to at some point stop trading away some of their talent. Like we're saying, somebody like Chikrin, and they've given away many other players over the last year and a half too.
Yeah, absolutely
You
right
know,
about that.
they have to start building on that.
Yep. We want to welcome Ellen Keeve in the house, Mr. Tap. Welcome back,
Welcome,
Ellen.
Ellen.
Doing very well for the weekend. Glad everybody to be a part of the show. Don't forget, guys, to click on the like. If you don't mind, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. Montreal play tonight between everything we just mentioned to you. Montreal play tonight, but you have nothing, it's very quiet right there with Montreal. They play against Colorado Avalanche. Jake Allen between the pipe. Zuski Etienne is going to change a little bit with new winger beside them. This is the only
Hmm.
chance for Martin St. Louis. And then finally, like you mentioned to you, Mr. Tap, the Montreal Canadiens are right now 28 in NHL. So this is great news for the Montreal Canadiens. They lost a 6 game, but I think the way they play, it's nothing wrong there. I think just they play against the better team. So they are right now 1 point behind Arizona and the Flyers, 26-27, and they are 4 points in front of the Anaheim, and they are they have Montreal one game in hands. So that's what they are. The worst case, or they could finish 26. The great things could happen to them if finish 29. That will be the standard, or the standard of what we
Yeah.
expected about that 27, 28, 29. And the only team right now at the bottom should not be there at the beginning of the season, or in my opinion, is Columbus Blue Jacket. So I predict Montreal 29 at the beginning of the year. If the Columbus Blue Jacket was out, they should be, and that's race Montreal. And then one team is not there yet is the Flyers, and they look not looking good. 16 more games to go, and we'll go from there after that, where they're going to finish Montreal. The flip side of the Panthers hanging there, and they still have a best chance to make the playoff would be the Islanders. They are one game in hands at 3 points behind the Florida Panthers. So that's another team they have to look about this. But Montreal need help for Nashville, Calgary to pass the Florida Panthers. If they don't make the playoff, Montreal could select the top 15 pick, maybe 12, 13, 14, ENORTAP. Washington is just behind. Nobody talk about this. I think in Washington right now, they are quiet, but they're still in the race. That's why we have to give credit for that part, ENORTAP.
Yeah, they haven't disappeared yet. But the only problem is they played 67 games, and it's getting harder now.
Ellen said Arizona got a better chance to win the lottery to the Abs. At that moment, I would say no.
Not right now.
Not right now. Now, the only thing I would say, Mr. Tap, yes, is, and barely, is because the pick of Ottawa put with the Arizona is barely a little bit advantage of maybe 1-2% better for the Montreal Canadiens if you put both picks together. So it's an interpretation about that one there. Arizona have a really better schedule this week. They play the Columbus. They play Chicago and Vancouver this week, and Anaheim does this. And one of the two teams have a Columbus in front of them this week. So we'll be interested in what they're going to do for that one over there for sure. Letang played pretty well lately. Impressive player, better after second stroke. Rand Kirk talk about Chris Letang, Mr. Tap. So that's what we got here about Montreal Canadiens. With nothing to say more about the Montreal Canadiens, or the fact I will invite everybody to watching my app Daily News. I give you a little bit more an update about the trouble, sign or not with the Montreal Canadiens. I give you different option. Why he can play with Montreal, but why he cannot play with Laval Rocket, why he cannot sign a contract with Montreal, but he can have a PTO with the Laval Rocket. And finally, he could just said, I don't sign nowhere. I'm going to wait until August 15, Mr. Tap, to come back and have my free UF3 at that moment. We want to mention, I make a video during the weekend, Connor Bedard, the amazing goal during the year of 22, 23, 24, 22, 23, plus the Team Canada goal. Finally, if you missed the show Sunday morning, we did the Abs Daily News, branch here Sunday rendezvous. Marco was not there, but I did the show the morning, so I just want to sharing with what we accomplished the last couple of days. Randy N is in the house, Mr. ENORTAP.
Welcome, Randy.
Sometimes we are wrong, and we are happy about that, Mr. ENORTAP. And then said that, yeah, you're not wrong. It's just how you see this, right? It's just like, but it's just barely
the other,
at the end of the day. So they are pretty much the same way.
The other thing we have to keep track of, Coach, as well, is sometimes it's easy to see. Like, let's say Montreal has their whatever percentage, depending on where they finish. And let's say Florida were to come down a little bit more. We have Florida's pick as well. What you can't mistake is you can't add those two percentages together and say you stand a greater percentage of winning the lottery, because the two are very independent events. What you have is you have an additional opportunity at whatever percentage to also cash in on that number one pick. But we can't add the separate percentages together. So even with Arizona and Ottawa's picks, they're two separate events.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right about that. And again, still 16 game, right? And they have some other thing could happen in front of you, like the team are in the playoff, Mr. ENORTAP. where they
Yeah.
can have another direction. So we calm down everything. We just wait a little bit. Or their team, like they said, no, we try to win every game. It's really important. It's all depend the option they have behind that. We have a couple of news around the league, Mr. Tap. You have a GM meeting. I don't know if you know this, guys. The Montreal have a meeting, but not Montreal, but all the GM are there. This is the last meeting, guys, of the obviously for um, David Poile after 26 years in NHL, Mr. Notap. And then this is the first meeting for Daniel Brière. 1 year ago, it was the same thing with Mr. Ken Hughes, Mr. Notap.
And
So,
Gordon, yeah.
Mr. Rick Bengal is in the house, Mr. Notap.
Hey, welcome, Rick.
Hopefully you're doing well. And then we have a couple of signatures around the league. First of all, the Vancouver signed the seventh round draft pick, Aiden and McDonough. It was 2019. Is a left winger, 6'2", 201 pounds, I believe. He have 38 points this year and 34 games for Northeastern. Played the last couple of years with Jordan Harris and Jaden Straubel for the Montreal Canadian prospect. I think this is the second time at the end they have a McDonough like that in NHL as the last name is on the top. Anyhow, Ryder Bolston signed a contract with the Chicago Blackhawks at ELC. The Washington signed the defenseman Trevor Van Resmick for a 3 years contract at $3 million. Really interesting story about TVR. If you follow him, another project of the Chicago Blackhawks. We don't want to mention that, but is a guy behind his brother, right? GVR was really and he continues to stay in the NHL. He did very well. I like his perseverance, and he got the rewards with this contract of $3 million, and well done for him. Very good third pairing defenseman. It's not like he can bring you some kind of offensive sometime, but he played very well with the Washington Capitals at the third pairing. Jankowski on the waiver a couple of weeks ago for the Nashville Predator, finally signed a new contract for next year. And then not Van Giuseppe, but it's Philip Giuseppe. Yeah, from the Vancouver Canucks. So I just want to mention that. So that's what's happening about all the news around the NHL for signatures during the weekend. Thank for the explanation. I did not know that in our tap. Leonardo Ramirez is in the house, Mr. Natap.
Welcome. Welcome, Angelo. Welcome, Leonardo.
I think Vegas will finish first, but not Dallas and the West. The Wall could catch the Star in the first place. Yes, Leonardo, thanks for reminding me about this. And then I will say to you, it could also Colorado, if they have a good straight at the end of the year, until the end of the year, could be the Colorado. So I agree with you about that one over there. Coach, who can go down to Laval to help them in the playoff? They have only two players, Rick. They have Pinard, and they have
RHP. RHP.
Harvey Pinard and Jesse Allonen.
And Allonen, right.
That's it. Yeah. Belzile cannot go.
Belzile can't. He has to go through waivers?
No, yes, they have to go that way. But my point about Belzile, they are not on the roster on the roster of the playoff. Now, I'm not sure about Barron because they have a rules about the fact. So I think he is not eligible. They have a rules you cannot drop a player for the roster playoff because if you're in injury, it's an agreement CBA. So I think Justin Barron is not a part of the playoff for them.
So, I see. Okay.
Chicago Bear is in the house.
Welcome, Nick.
Coach, can I watch the ab Welcome Back looking into Bell Center tonight? I never get to see that stuff. The only way, if you watch the game, I think we cannot see it, honestly, us live. What you can watch this is after that, after the game, check. You have someone somehow on YouTube channel. They do those kind of information. I will try to put this on my app, the news tomorrow. if I had a possibility. But usually we can get those kind of the stuff like that only after the game. Live, it could happen, but not always the TV does this. So that's
Yeah.
the best way. I don't know any other look at way.
Unfortunately, coach, the NHL 66 is not working in Canada. At least not in Ontario. I don't know about outside of Ontario, but that's unfortunate because you could have picked up all the games there. But if you try just streaming it, Google the stream of it, there might be some link to some to that game itself.
Yeah, that's could happen about this, but that's only use me. It works here, and not everything work in
Yeah.
Thailand, but the NHL 66 they love Thailand. So that's happening about this. You're welcome, Rick, about this. You're absolutely Leonardo about Vegas. It's wide open on this. Yann Gionet is in the house, Mr. Tap.
Welcome, Jan.
Leonardo, coach, which NHL arena is on your bucket list to go watch hockey? I will have to go with Seattle Kraken now because they really build something unique over there. But one of the location I went before the COVID. The last was my last trip before COVID. It was at Detroit. I have a hockey tournament over there. I have a chance to watch the Detroit Red Wings at the Little Caesars. Maybe one of the best building the last 10 years in the NHL. Well done, well said. They did a really good job for the building over there. But if I have to do like you just mentioned, I think for me it's really the the Seattle Kraken, on my opinion. I maybe did 26, 27, maybe 30 of them with all the old one, right? Maybe more. But really on that one, I was to Vancouver in 2019 for the NHL draft. It's nothing special there. Nothing special. American Airlines in Dallas, a star. They built older building compared to the new one, and then as the new one, I think that one, the Detroit one, is really well done by this organization. About that, us A&T Mobile Arena have the best atmosphere, especially playoff game. Yeah, that's a really special over there. Unfortunately, the ring is
Hmm.
great, but not like Columbus, Blue nothing there, honestly. Bucket list, Arizona, Mullet
Love
Arena.
to
Here we
go.
go. Well
Enjoy it
said
while lasts.
about that one over there. Is the West pretty much set with a playoff team? Now it's just a placement for what you said. That's funny because there was my next question about this, Mr. On top. You can finishing this one before we go to the prediction. Um, Wild card, what do you expect for the spot number 8? Look like when now Pittsburgh is a little bit jumping on that one. On the West,
Yeah.
but the problem with the West is Colorado, Minnesota, and Winnipeg exchange their spot. Winning percentage of Colorado is in front of Winnipeg. But and the Seattle or the Edmonton are in front of them. So what do you expect on the both wild card?
Well, in the West, you're looking realistically, you're looking at two teams that are still in the chase, and that would be Nashville and Calgary. Now, the problem with Calgary is they've played 67 games, and so there's the disadvantage of not having that many games left in comparison to the other teams. With Nashville, the disadvantage is they pretty much gave away a lot of pieces, key pieces to the puzzle at trade deadline time and even earlier. So I think it'll come to a point where they might lose a couple in a row, and all of a sudden the bubble bursts there in Nashville. So I would venture to say that you'll have the 8 teams that are in there right now will stay there, and that's right now it's Edmonton and Colorado as the wild card teams. But it could turn out to be two totally different teams. Like it could turn out to be somebody like Winnipeg and I don't know, maybe Seattle or maybe Edmonton stays there if they don't improve matters. In the East, I think it's I think it's pretty much set. I know that Washington and Ottawa and Florida still have a shot, but like you look at Ottawa now, they've played 66 games and they're 6 points out. That's a huge margin. I know it doesn't sound a lot, but when you only have 16 games left. It's not that easy, especially when you have to jump over other teams. Florida's put together a nice, little stretch of 6-3-1 lately, and they have 73 points, but they've played 67 games. The only saving grace here is the fact that the Islanders have played more than everybody else, and that's 68 games. So if you can take advantage, if you're Florida or possibly even Washington, but I doubt it, if you can take advantage of at least that one game that you have in hand, it can go a long way in helping you. But I think the teams you see right now are the teams that'll stay there.
Yeah, well said about that. Would be, it's a team really good. Um, the only thing for Islanders is the number of the game they play already could be an effect for Florida. Maybe the only team for the bottom there, Florida, Ottawa. Um, I see the only team could make sense is Florida Panthers, Mr. Tap.
Yeah, maybe, but they have a tough schedule coming up too.
Yeah, absolutely. We want
It's
to
not
welcome
easy.
Joe Salika. Mr. Joe is a big fan of the Buffalo Sabres. Welcome back.
Welcome, Joe.
Joe, thanks. Yes, Leonardo. Yeah, absolutely. Calgary situation about this. So we're going to consider what we had here. The warm-up show, going to consider what we have. But before that, we have to go to the leaderboard, if you don't mind. Give you a little bit
Yeah,
what's
let's
going on
do it.
around the leaderboard. First of all, Danny T still lead the jail time. You can feel following many other people. The party boss, Peter August, is the unbelievable great year he has with the prediction, Mr. Top 23 party boss. For congratulations for both of you guys. One on the right direction, one on the wrong direction. And win leaders, conference lead barely over Yamo, Vini, and ENORTAP. And then the winning percentage, Peter August completely dominate at 672 with a year this year, Mr. Top. We have to give him a really great job he did this year. And then followed by me and Yamo, Vinny, and Captain Kirk, Mr. Top, pick it up over there, Peter Martin, and you, number 7. Finally,
Dropped,
the leader is
dropped.
getting a little bit closer on the point at the end, where for me, it's not a big deal. It's not what I'm looking for. But it's
Yes, it is.
468 with 464, and Vinny is still hanging there, Mr. Tap. We are the 3 right there. I'm just not good to
Yeah.
set up the game. For me, it's about the team. 2-1, 3-1, 5-3. Who cares for me? I don't like it, Mr. Tap. That's it.
That's
That's
okay.
all.
You don't like it. You're at the top.
Yeah, but I'm just winning more. You guys, you pick the right score. I don't know. You do that. I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
care about that. I'm just listening, Luciano, to don't take Pittsburgh, Winnipeg, and that's pretty much what I'm
Oh,
doing.
Winnipeg. Take
Thanks so much,
Winnipeg.
Joe. I appreciate a
First.
lot. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget, guys, to click on the likes. We're going to consist. The Sab are not special. They lose tonight. You're absolutely right. Maybe the end for the Sabres. It will be really, very difficult. A big matchup tonight, Mr. Tap. Let's see what we got here at
Oh,
that moment.
Buffalo.
Anaheim versus the Toronto Maple Leaf. Anaheim. I said the
Buffalo.
Buffalo Sabres versus. I
Buffalo.
was watching because I just see I just watching the um,
The
the NHL
standings.
draft percentage right there. Ellen said Arizona,
Oh, I
right?
see.
Earlier, or she said Anaheim?
I think she said Arizona.
Okay, perfect. Because Anaheim is in
Yeah,
front of my Canadian, so I was just watching on the
yeah.
TV. So I apologize for that one over there. Anyhow, Mr.
And
Tap, the
and
Buffalo Sabre, the Toronto Maple Leaf, but I can give you only one update if you don't mind.
yeah.
For the Buffalo Sabres, Kel Clag, or Glag, whatever you want to call him, played with Montreal last year, back in the lineup for the Buffalo Sabres. Dallin and Puck, Alex Tuck, our game decision, and we remove
Yeah.
Eric Henry, Matthias Samuelson for the Buffalo Sabres, and Luke Shine is going to be out for the Toronto Maple Leaf.
Yes, indeed. And here in this particular game, the Sabres they come into Toronto after that 2-1 loss at the hands of the Rangers on Saturday afternoon, and currently they have a 32-28-5 record, and are sitting sixth in the Atlantic Division. They would have to go on one heck of a run just to even entertain the chances of making a playoff spot. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like things work out for them this year. But you know what? They have strung together a very nice year with a lot of promise for the future. So that's something to hang your hat on for sure. Losing 6 out of their last 7 games, the Sabres really need a quality win to gain some kind of momentum in order to, like I said, in order to even entertain that possibility. One stat that doesn't really help is being 24th in the league when it comes to goals against. They've allowed 236 on the year. Luukkonen will likely make the start here against Samsonov tonight. Or no, I think Murray's in.
Murray
Last I
Anderson.
checked. Yeah. Oh, Anderson's in, not
Yeah,
Luukkonen.
for what I heard from
Okay.
Yamo.
Okay. Yeah. So again, not a big needle mover there for either squad. The Leafs they've had recently they had that very nice impressive win over the Edmonton Oilers by a score of 7-4 on Saturday. Just when it looked like they might get blown out again, they were trailing. I think it was 3-1. They strung together. I think it was 5 unanswered goals, and they really took it to the Oilers. So it'll be interesting to see if they can continue in that fashion. Currently, they're second in the Atlantic. They're preparing for a playoff run. I think we know the score here. You look at somebody like Keefe, he's really put all the chips in the center of the table and said, we were going to go for it this year. Is it enough what they've done? Or, remains to be seen, right? But Toronto is probably one of the most complete teams in the league. They rank in top 10 in both goals for and goals against. So those are all good metrics to sort of base your decisions on. Now, in terms of these two teams, like Buffalo is 5-10 in the last 15 games against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and more importantly, they're 2-6 in the last 8 games that they've played on the road in Toronto. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Leafs. I do believe it'll be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go with the Leafs by a score of 6-4.
Oh my God! All right,
Would
5-2
you go
Minnesota for
5-2?
Toronto. I play tonight.
Okay.
I play casino tonight. So I go for the
Okay.
blackjack 21 Minnesota. So my score already easy tonight. Like I said, I don't too much pay attention to that Minnesota. Here
Do
we
you know
go.
what
The
the
Colorado
over-under
Avalanche
is?
versus the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens announced today. Justin Barron is not going to play tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. So Barron is out. Darren Helm is out for the Colorado Avalanche. You talk about injury for Montreal Canadiens, guys. You have to go on the Colorado Avalanche Minnesota. They are a team really with many injuries. Manson, McDermott, Francouz, Help, Lance Tagog. It's a team really got hurt all year long too, like the Montreal Canadiens. That's the reason why they are right where they at in the standing, and that's what is happening.
Yeah. I mean, with the exception of Landeskog, though, the injuries haven't been as long term as the ones Montreal's had, in all fairness. But you're right; they have had quite a bit of injuries all year long, and that always messes up your lineup and your lines. It doesn't put them in their proper spots. That's for sure. So after facing off against 4 straight playoff teams, the Habs are and losing all 4 of them for that matter. The Canadians now will welcome the defending Stanley Cup champions to Montreal amidst the 6-game losing streak, which doesn't feel like it. If I gotta admit, the way they've been playing has been a very exciting brand of hockey. They're in every game. They've lost a couple in overtime of those 6. It really doesn't feel like it's a 6-game losing streak. But nevertheless, the facts are what they are, and it is 6-game losing streak. But prior to those 4 games, was that loss against Anaheim, which kind of hurt, that stung. and there's no surprise here that the Avalanche are definitely the better team. Colorado hasn't been as dominant as they were last year, but as Coach mentioned, they've been riddled with injuries all year long, and as a result, they haven't really run away with uh, the division or nor the standings in the Western Conference. But remember, this is just the regular season. I think in Colorado's mind, they're not too overly concerned with the fact that they are where they are, as long as they're in a playoff spot and they're healthy as the time for the playoffs comes up, because they know what they have, and that is a top-notch team in Colorado. So I like the fact that McKinnon and Rantanen have been having multiple point games recently. They're very strong. While these two teams don't meet very often, as we know, because it's East and West, Colorado hasn't lost to Montreal since the last 4 years. In the last 4 years, so I don't see why
Two of
that
them,
would.
for 2 years they never played me. So just kidding.
Yeah, well, that's okay. They weren't an all Canadian Division 1 year, but it's still 4 years.
Yeah, you know.
So I'm gonna take Colorado, but I think it'll be a relatively close game. I'm gonna go with 4-2 Colorado.
So in the last 4 years, how many games they play at home?
At home, I don't know, but they've played, I believe,
Well, not that
five
many,
five games.
maybe like 4 or 6 maximum.
Yeah, five, I believe it was.
Yeah. All right, 5-2 Mr. Top for me. That's not complicated. Ellen, you're absolutely right about that. Montreal will need to lose. Yamo. Yeah, I draft a position. Absolutely. Angelo.
Organic. That's what we're doing,
Yeah, absolutely
and
about
having
this,
fun
Mr.
while
Top.
we're doing it.
The biggest game of the night for me was a little bit more difficult. The Dallas Star versus the Seattle Kraken. Tonight, two teams need a W, but different option for the Dallas stay in the first place on
Right.
the Central. She's a big difference, guys. We never pay too much attention. You finish second in the Central Division, you play Minnesota, Colorado. You finish
I know.
first, you play maybe Edmonton or the Seattle Kraken. So this could be the beginning of the round number one of for the Dallas and Seattle Kraken tonight.
Yeah, right. And pick your poison is a way to put it.
And Mr. Natal,
The
before you
start.
mention that game, we want
Yeah.
to mention to you, he's just out of the scar. He looked like he got a flat tire on the highway. I don't know what's going on. He's late right now and the show. And that's maybe the reason we heard you have a flat tire. And I'm talking about Dixon Automotive Group. He's in the house, Mr. Tap, with a white Nissan. Just knocked the
Welcome,
door,
Dixon.
Mr. Tap.
With a Nissan today. Okay.
By the way, he just said to me, he just waved to Danny. Danny was on the opposite side. We know Danny's going out to get snow to pick up his shirt, so they cross each other on the highway. Um, that's happening. We know Roger drive the bag of the Hockey National show, the coccinelle number 53, and everybody recognized Danny. He put his rabbit here out of the car, Mr. Natap. So just want to share it with you.
Yeah. Oh well. Good to know. Now, Coach, what was your prediction for Colorado?
5-2.
Oh, 5-2. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what can we say about these two teams? Like the Stars and the Kraken, they get this is a quick rematch for them. After playing on Saturday, they meet again tonight, but in Seattle again. Saturday's game was a thriller, to say the least. The Stars actually squeaked out a 4-3 win in overtime against them, but it was really good action, back and forth. It was a playoff kind of atmosphere and game, and there's no reason to believe that this game won't be as good because both they're both impressive teams who are trying to push hard for the playoff positioning. As Coach mentioned, Dallas is looking to finish on top of their division, and Seattle's struggling to staying in their playoff spot and possibly in the top three in their division. So we'll see what happens here. But the Kraken, they were able to hold in the game on Saturday. Were able to hold Jason Robertson and Jamie Benn, who have been hot without a point. But they likely won't do that again. These guys are very good. They've had fantastic years, especially Robertson this year. Dallas is more likely to exploit that middling Kraken defense, and if those guys show up, this could be over quickly for Dallas. But I would venture to say it'll be yet another close game and not any kind of blowout either way. Dallas is, I know it's not, in terms of longevity, it's not much because the Kraken have only been around for 2 years. But in those 2 years, Dallas is a career 3-1-0 against the Kraken. So I'm going to bet on Dallas winning this one by a margin of 4-2.
4-2, Mr. UNTAP. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great decision. Dallas Star, Mr. UNTAP, 4-3.
You missed the empty net, coach.
No, I feel the OT.
The OT? Okay.
Yeah, I feel that one with him, Mr. UNTAP. That's conclude the special show we have tonight on the warm-up show, Mr. UNTAP. We'll be back at 7:30 for the play-by-play commentary. But before we leave, we ask you very easy, before you get out here at the house, what caught your attention? We want to welcome everybody. Thanks to be a part of the show tonight, guys. Leonardo Ramirez, hopefully you're going to go back a little bit more often with us. And then OT, Real. Yeah, you're absolutely about that. I said OT about that one. But Mr. UNTAP, before you leave, you have to tell us what you're going to, what you're looking for tonight.
Well, the Dallas-Seattle game, I think it'll be the most competitive of the three. The Buffalo-Toronto, I'm looking for the over. The over set at 7. And Montreal, another organic loss. Let's do it, boys. But in an exciting way.
You're absolutely about this. Arturi Lekonen back in the building tonight. It will be a warm welcome for him. Lekonen back in Montreal for the first time. Got traced last year. And you talk about professionalism. You talk about a player who always gave everything every single game. It was Arturi Lekonen, one of the best for Montreal Canadiens. We want to thank all the moderators tonight. We want to thank each one of you in the chat. You did an amazing, great job. And I will be back 7:30. Don't forget to click on the like if you don't mind, and subscribe and be a member of the Hockey Nation show if you want to. But before we leave, we want to remind everybody, because you are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. He has greatness inside of you. But be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the first half of what?
You're 2023.
You did it again. An amazing great night, Mr. UNTAP. I will see you tomorrow night, 6 p.m.
Good night, coach. Good night, Hockey Nation.